news reporters that are saying that civilization is collapsing. Just I had a pop up from Tucker Carlson. I haven't watched Tucker Carlson in years, but I got a random pop up.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Gonna blame my computer at this point. It is old. Um, but he's saying, "Oh, we're watching the civilization collapse in real time." He's not wrong. I haven't watched the video, so I can't say what he's saying. But
Hmm.
there's something to be said about what he's talking about there. And it's frustrating because we can see it. Some of this we saw coming.
Hmm.
It's not like it was a surprise. We knew that there was a problem coming. The signs are
Hmm.
there. Even just if you look back at history, historical falls of civilization, um,
Hmm.
most notably the Roman era. I mean, and now we look back with, this Monday morning quarterback, and we can see the signs. Oh, it was falling here, and this is when it started, and this is what happened, and this is the consequences. And if
Hmm.
we take that same lens, if you will, and apply it to contemporary times, you can see those same trends
Hmm.
happening. And this is not the first time that that comparison has been made to the Roman era and the collapse of civilization. It's just yet one more sign that shit's happening. Hey, I'm not on TFR. I can swear all I want. Dang it. Um, for, for fuck's sake, man. Um,
Wow.
hey, Julia. So yeah, it's just um, it's interesting to me the way so much is happening to show that civilization is changing. It is degrading. It is
Mhm.
falling apart. Just go to your grocery store. Look at your empty shelves, guys. But
Mhm.
in the process, I think we need to stop and look back at the way our ancestors did things. And unfortunately, it could be those elders that we were just joking about, born in the 1800s. How did they do things?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
they didn't have modern plumbing. I mean, modern plumbing, as we know it with the flush toilet, is a relatively new thing in the history of the human species. Um, so if you don't have a way to flush your toilet, what are you going to do? I mean, the worst case
Right.
scenario, the horror scenario, is when we look back to the hurricane that happened and took out Louisiana, um, Katrina,
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
way everything happened um, in the football stadium. Okay, it's very, very much a microcosm of an end of the world scenario, but still absolutely true. I mean, you do a very interesting sociological study about what happened there when Katrina hit and how everybody swarmed
Mhm.
together and the decline of civilized behavior. Hey, Dee.
Mhm. Well, that they we talk about the decline of the civilized behavior.
Hmm.
That didn't come from a vacuum. There was a lot of governmental crap going on at the same
Yes,
time. And
there
of
was.
course there was going to be uncivil people didn't get a chance to get out of there. Well, let me rephrase. There were certain people that were out of there within before, days
Hmm.
before the thing hit. They saw what was coming and they got the heck out of there. When the storm really got there, and don't forget, there was explosions at those levees,
Hmm.
okay? And so the flooding that took place and people were forced to get into the stadiums. They were forced at gunpoint to go into the stadium. So that was a lot of government stuff going on with that. Um, that can go into geopolitics in a heartbeat, can it?
Right? Squirrel.
Um, isn't well, the thing is that there's so many damn squirrels and they keep on getting in our faces,
Right.
if you think about
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
So, it's
You
not my
guys,
fault there was a
everybody
squirrel,
logged
but
in for,
it's
a paganism and witchcraft show, and we're talking about geopolitical, situations and how to weather them. Um, but
mhm.
they're connected. And here's how they're connected.
Right.
As our geopolitical situation changes and civilization wakes up to the contemporary thing of what's going on in worldwide society, not just in American society,
Hmm.
but worldwide society. And a lot of it really truly is Americans. I swear, the world goes to hell in a handbasket. The U.S. is going to lead the way. It'll it'll be the last one to sign on, but it'll catch
Well,
up.
if
So
if you look at the different,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I was
I'm
going to
sorry.
say,
I was
as
going to say if
as
you look at
rock paper scissors. Uh, 1, 2, 3, go. Go ahead. I'll drink wine.
okay, there's different societies all throughout history and prehistory. Okay,
Right.
the Greeks, Romans, all these different societies that have or empires that have crashed. Okay, all has to do with decadence.
Hmm.
Okay, and it seems like some of the little flags that kind of give you or the little hallmarks that is given away is that the what's going on in politics and the rulers, what are they doing, what are they allowing, what are they pushing, what are the different things. There's economic policy that keeps on repeating itself.
Hmm.
The Greeks, the Romans, Persians, they all had these same things. They all did the same things.
Hmm.
um, the pushing of pedophilia, okay, the printing of money and control of money and just printing off money pell mell like our system is doing now. We've got the pushing of pedophilia going on in Hollywood and things like that, and all these other aspects of society. Um, what was the other thing? Hang on a second. Oh, constant wars and overextending the resources of the country
Hmm.
to go into other countries to take over. So basically, the hyperextension of the military into the rest of the world, that's another sign of it. So what of these signs has the United States not done?
Mm, this is a trick question. Should I know the answer?
It's not a trick question. It's not a trick question. We've done it all. Okay. The
Exactly,
United
that's my
States,
point.
except the only thing mostly remarkable about the United States is we are the youngest
I know, right?
country to build such a quick empire and then bring it down so quickly.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
And if you think
that's
about it, it's like you have a
that's a
Senate.
Guinness World Record that we need.
World history record.
Right.
Seriously, I mean, that is the fastest you had such an empire built up and expanded and contracted so fast. It was like, what?
Hmm.
The history books will be alarmed and impressed with how quickly we did this. I
But
mean,
not
we
in a good
built an
way.
empire. We had the industrial. Yeah, it would be breathtaking, just
Mhm.
breathtaking.
Well, and it is.
We had think
The
about it. We went to space.
Mhm.
What? I mean, our
Right?
society, and well, it wasn't just us, but we led the technological know-how to ensure we went to space. So it makes me wonder, have we gone through all this stuff before? Because there's nothing new under the sun, as we know.
Hmm.
Have we done this all before? And I'm talking about humanity.
Hmm.
I mean, the pyramids, they still can't, from what I understand, they still can't figure out how the pyramids were built.
Hmm.
And wait until you guys see the pyramids that's in the Japan Sea.
Oh, I know,
Okay.
right?
In the Sea of Japan, there are huge, gargantuan pyramids compared to the ones that's in Giza.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh, but those are
Those,
not
the
man-made. Those
ones
are
in,
just happened. Don't forget.
yeah, right. Okay. So somebody made them.
Right?
Somebody with an intelligence behind them had some knowledge of geometry, made them.
Hmm.
So, it could have been giant humans or ET. I'm not going to say no, it wasn't ET, but at the same time, I really do think it was humans because generationally, I don't know if you heard the elders say so when you were younger, but the basically the elders would say that generationally we're getting stupider and stupider. We've got great technology, we've got great abilities to learn, but each generation we're getting dumber and dumber as we go. My
Hmm.
mother and I were just talking, and she was floored because we were talking about algebra. You know how you and I have talked about this before, how algebra is being taught in schools basically, and I suspect that it is basically designed to scare children away from the mathematics.
Oh, probably.
Um,
Hmm.
um, my mom told me, because she went to an all girls Catholic high school, right, in Philadelphia,
Hmm.
and she told me, she said, we didn't learn algebra. We didn't have to. We learned geometry, calculus, trigonometry. They didn't learn algebra.
Really?
Yeah. When she went to, as an adult, when my dad died, that was like in 1991. When dad died, she went back to school. She went to college, all right, to get her nursing degree. She had to take algebra and she didn't understand. She's like, what the hell is all this? They were like, well, how did you answer those questions? She goes, I did it in my head,
Hmm. Oh, yeah, logarithms?
because it's
Yeah.
calculus. Well, yeah, it's like you don't have to do. Algebra is basically designed to confuse, kind of like how the narrative or dialectic is done, and the catchphrases we have today.
Hmm.
If somebody was to say those same phrases 150 years ago, they would think you're retarded. Like
Emotional
cash me,
damage.
right? Cash me outside or chill out.
Right?
Things like that. All these different phrases we have today. If you was to repeat those phrases back in, what, 150 years ago, they'd put you in a loony bin.
Equivalent of 3 glasses. That would explain so much.
Wow. Yeah, you know
So
what? It could
you
be
would like this
a
one. It's called Liberty Creek, Freedom to Roam.
yeah,
It comes in a little cardboard
nice.
container. It's just a Pinot Grigio out of California, but it's actually pretty good. I'm pleased.
California wines are fine.
Well, yeah, it's because they've had so much ash for the grapes to grow. Um,
Damn.
so,
Girl, you could be cold-blooded. Holy
uh, I'm glad you weren't drinking something right there. Uh, but
crap. That's so cool.
well, grapes actually grow better with ash. That's why Mount St.
That
Helens,
is
Mount Hood
true.
area, they have a lot of really awesome
Mhm.
grapeyards and vineyards. Same with Italy. Um, a lot of
Mhm.
really phenomenal grapeyards for vineyards because they have the ash produces the right acidic
All,
content for the soil so that the
mhm.
grapes grow best and have the
Mhm.
best flavor. So apparently, in a few years, California should have some really good wine. So,
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's part of life. I mean, I
right.
laugh,
So
but at the same time, it's serious. It's true.
Exactly. So, we were talking about the poles moving a little bit earlier, which isn't very pagan, but still
Mhm.
is. Aussie mentioned in the chat room that the pyramid at Antarctica is quite huge. So all of these things are, weather related, or supposedly man-made influence and such. I personally feel, this is
Mhm.
my personal belief, it's not science-based or anything like that. It's just my personal belief is that, um, we don't have any new weather. Every weather pattern that we've had to date is
Mhm.
recycled weather pattern that's happened on this earth in the past. And so, because of that,
Right.
um, can mankind affect the weather and cause some global warming? Yes, I do believe that we can contribute. Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Because yes. And we've done enough things to screw stuff up. I'm trying not to swear. Um,
Mhm.
screw shit up that yes, we can affect global warming. I mean, look at acid rain was caused by chemical pollution, that kind of thing. However, that being
Right.
said, I truly feel that the weather we're having today is what we were supposed to have anyways. Maybe it's been accelerated because of man's influences and
Well, hang on a second. Hang
but
on. Pause that for a second. What about the COVID? I mean, because people were
I
staying at
said
home
weather.
and the factories were all closed. Closed. Well, no, no, no. Where I'm going, it's like because of acid rain, because of pollutants and everything. But after a volcano, you get acid rain from that too.
Exactly. And that's what so many people are forgetting is that the natural influences for pollution, if you will, are a real legitimate thing.
Hmm.
Look at the volcano that just went off in the Tonga area.
Hmm.
That was a really
Hmm.
big volcano. It did a lot of damage. It wiped out a lot of stuff and tsunamis and such. And in addition to just the volcano destroying part of that island. That wasn't global
Hmm.
warming, did not set off that volcano. That was just part of the
Nope.
cyclical nature of the earth. And so,
Hmm.
um, as that happens, you know, we don't have control over volcanoes erupting. And we don't have control over how many solar storms or solar flares we're having, unless someone's sending some really big bombs. Um,
Hmm.
it's, yeah, I mean, can we affect weather as energy workers? Yes, we can affect weather.
Hmm.
Can governments out there who have the appropriate setup affect the weather? Yes, absolutely. Just like we
Hmm.
can energetically. Yes, absolutely. But on a global scale, where it is causing ice ages and such to start, or the significant droughts that we're seeing and all that, as mankind, it would take all of us sitting together and focusing our intent, I think, to truly change the weather pattern to what it is now.
Hmm.
Microscopically, yes, we can, or in a micro system, yes. Like locally, we needed rain here last summer to help with the forest fires. Julie and I participated in a ritual to help draw moisture to the area and end the heat period, and it worked, and it was awesome. And that's great in the ocean, the proverbial ocean. So um, the cyclical nature of the weather that we're experiencing today is, I think, what we were going to have anyways. Maybe it was accelerated a little bit by some of the crap that mankind has done, but this is intentional. This
Hmm.
is what's going to happen. Excuse me. So yeah,
Hmm.
do your energy work to protect yourself as much as you can. Yes, absolutely. To affect the weather as much as you can. Yes, but like I didn't have much of a garden last year because the cost, the profit loss analysis, if you will, for my energy to produce enough moisture to make sure my garden was rained upon all summer long, it wasn't worth the energy. And sometimes we need to look at that also. The it's a business thing,
Hmm.
excuse me, but when it comes to weather, you want to make sure your crops have enough water. But when it's a trend where the moisture is leaving. I mean, there are societies that have just up and moved. The Anunnaki, for instance, they left where they were at because the water stopped flowing. They changed where they
Hmm.
were at. The
Right.
Aztec, the Mayans, all of them, they changed the way their society operated because the rain stopped flowing. That's not because they couldn't stop manipulating the rain, because they could. It's just the weather pattern shifted and it became harder and harder for them to expend that amount of energy. I mean, we're sure we have a lot of energy, but we only have so much. We're finite sources of energy to support
Hmm.
ourselves.
Hmm.
And if we exhaust ourselves in trying to fight the tide, um, then it ages us prematurely with their own personal energy. We've all seen them.
Right. And refilling. Hey, something that's being discussed in the chat is how some people can send rain, some people
Hmm.
can affect weather
Hmm.
and change the outcome of weather here and there. Um, and the discussion is that different rainstorms being sent here and there, right? Well, and the discussion is weather manipulation. Ancestors did it all the time. However, just because you can doesn't mean you should. While I agree, however, um, it brings up to mind how I was, how we've all heard about the Native Americans, the different tribes would do rain dances
Hmm.
to create a rainstorm.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of people did not believe. They're like, and it's the funniest thing, funny as an odd. When I was in Yugoslavia, the locals in Yugoslavia, the people of Yugoslavia, would ask me, they're like, is it true the Native Americans did rain dances? And I was like, yeah. And they asked, well, did it work? And I was like, of course it worked, because if it didn't work, they wouldn't do rain dances.
Right?
And they just looked at me like, what? And I'm like, of course it worked. I said, not only that, you can look it up scientifically and find out why it worked. It's because the dust, there was certain bacteria in the dust of the ground that got kicked up during the rain dances that create, it was basically seeds for clouds for thunderstorms. And it
It was
did. It
localized.
worked.
Hmm.
It was localized, but it also benefited others, whoever, who, like I said, it seeded the clouds.
Mhm.
All right. Now, these are, I'm not talking about the weather modification that the government is doing. Those are crystalline chemical seed clouds that they do.
Mhm.
I'm talking about what the earth, because it makes sense now. It's like, think about it. When a rainstorm happens, right? When
Mhm.
you get a bunch of rain, why is it that it smells like earth?
Right.
It's because there's seeds, there is bacteria that creates the rainstorms. So,
Okay.
and it's very hard to work it out how to do that all the time, but I get it. And Naysay, you're right about that. We must be careful. We have to be super responsible, because there might be something else going on. Because, like, for instance, when the tornadoes were ripping through this area, I went out to my front porch and I said, okay, Mother Nature, Mother Earth, I know that you've got something going on. You have a reason for doing what you're doing. Kindly avoid my house, because I don't have the time, energy, or money to deal with a damaged house, or a damaged car because of your tornadoes.
Mhm.
So do me a favor, avoid this spot. I don't have the wherewithal to deal with that. Okay.
Mhm.
I understand and respect that you need to do something and rip some stuff up over here. Okay, I get it. Um, and I do. Same thing. And I said the same thing prior to a hurricane that was coming towards my house that I had just bought in North Carolina when I got out of the military. Same thing. There was a hurricane. Finally I get to see a hurricane. Yay, until it was coming at my house, barreling down on my house. And I'm like, dude, really? I didn't do it. I know you're pissed, but I didn't do it. All right. So leave my house alone. And as an afterthought, I was like, leave my neighbor's house alone. And that's exactly what it looked like too. It looked like our house and her house, my house and her house was totally avoided. The winds went in between and around my house and destroyed all. There was destruction all throughout the community, except for our two houses.
Mhm.
So it's a matter of respect.
Mhm. It
You
is.
have to respect. And so, yeah,
Boundaries.
they
Yeah.
say I agree with you on that.
So,
That's a
yeah.
good. You don't need to dance if you have a song.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Yes.
he's right.
It all depends upon how you channel energy. There is no one particular right way to channel energy. Just like Dee says, she's got a
Hmm.
good relationship with the elements. Naysay says you don't have to
Hmm.
dance if you have a song. Well, unfortunately, not all elders throughout millennia have
Hmm.
been at the same level. Some can just do the work themselves, and some need to
Hmm.
build the energy using the energy of those around them to help to channel it, if you will, into
Hmm.
what they need to accomplish. So some do need the dance because they need all of those people to pull their energy and combine it to one purpose, and others can just kind of
Right.
do the thing. And that's true even today for, I'm in multiple different groups through social media and chats and websites and stuff with
Hmm.
witches and pagans around the world. And not everybody has the same ability. Doesn't mean they don't have the same access to the information, same access to learn, because they do. We all do. Sometimes we have to do the work to figure out where the information is to learn or find someone who can teach us, which is an adventure all by itself. But generally speaking, we all have access to the same information, but we don't all have access to the
Right.
same ability. Just like not everybody can sing. Think of it that way.